Hi guys, as you know I'm out today. Just want to talk you through your lesson for today and what I am going to expect you to do and have done for tomorrow. So one quick side note is your grades for your project, the one you just presented on. I'm going to hand those back to you tomorrow. There, I think, are going to be a decent number of revisions, so I'm going to have that set and ready to go, and you can see here on the slide that those will be due then a week from tomorrow. So if you think that might be you, you can already start thinking about some of the things that you might need to improve upon. The revision is not another presentation, it's actually a written revision, so you'll have to follow some steps in order to be able to revise that. So today, though, you're going to start our next unit, which is all about westward expansion. And I know just based on my first couple classes today already, but also from previous years, I know that you guys have some background knowledge on the key people and key ideas and places even that are involved in this unit. So we're going to take a little time today. First, I'm going to explain over the course of this unit, what do you need to know? What do you already know? We're going to take a little time to figure that out. And then you're going to just start this brainstorming of, like, what do I want to know? There's a little part of this unit where we can all kind of branch off and do our own thing for a little bit. And that kind of independent project idea, you'll take some sort of question that you have and investigate that question. So we're going to start kind of creating some of those questions today. And then you'll watch America, the Story of Us. There's a little 20-minute segment of the Westward episode you'll watch today. I'll preview that for you in a second. And then you'll end class by skimming over an article that is about one very famous family that's part of westward expansion, and they're called the Donner Party. And they have a very famous history, and it's very intriguing, and you'll figure out why. So first of all, what do you need to know for this unit? Well, I am going to need you to understand, first of all, that people are going to move for a variety of reasons, and we'll talk about a lot of those reasons in our unit. Second of all, the time period we're talking about here is the early 1800s. The United States purchases 500 million acres of land in the early 1800s from France, and that kind of starts the exploration and expansion and this idea that people have of, like, holy cow, we just doubled the size of our country and we've got a chance to explore it, so let's go for it. So we're going to talk about all that land west of the Mississippi and who explored it, and then, of course, why they went there. Their expansion was influenced by geography, and we'll talk about economic opportunity and how people wanted to move west for a lot of the same reasons they wanted to come over to the colonies in the first place, just now, generations later. Successful pioneers, we're going to take a look at a couple of them specifically and how they worked together, how they had to have a crazy amount of courage to do what they did, and obviously they had to problem solve and do some things that maybe you and I wouldn't think of. We're going to talk about these last two bullet points go together here, how change and progress can have both positive and negative effects. And obviously, when we talk about westward expansion, especially from our point of view, we're really looking at it for how these 13 states start to move west, but we can never forget that they are moving west onto land that's already being occupied by Native Americans. And so that relationship and that conflict is a huge part of our study too. So here's what you're going to do first today. You are going to partner up or find a group of 3. And I'm going to give you, I want you to take about 5 minutes. You're going to do some brainstorming about what you think you already know about some topics that are a part of our unit. Okay, so this is what the sheet looks like that you are going to do this on. The top part has all of the ideas, well, not all, but a lot of the ideas that we're going to talk about. Key people, places, events. So I want you to read over those, and then with your partner or your group, just brainstorm a list. Like, what do you think you know about these topics? What have you heard about before? I found out today that a lot of people who've, watched the movie National Treasure, Night at the Museum, they're looking at some of these names and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that person. So this first box up here is just what you think you know. If you have any good questions that come to mind, you could always write them below in the what I want to know. But we're going to take 5 minutes to just record as many things as you think you know with your partner. And then you'll share out and kind of have a discussion. So I'm going to let you guys do that right now, and then you can play the video again when you're done with that discussion for the next steps. All right, so you're going to watch a little bit of America, the Story of Us now. The episode's called Westward, and I just want to preview some of the topics for you. So first you're going to hear about Daniel Boone, his connection to the Shawnee Native American tribe, and Lewis and Clark. I know that you've maybe heard Lewis and Clark before. They're probably the most famous of these three names that I put up here, but Daniel Boone and the Shawnee have a very tense relationship. There's a lot of issues with Daniel Boone exploring and moving forward, and obviously he's coming onto land that's already being occupied, and it's being occupied by the Shawnee, and so they have a tough relationship. They're actually going to show in the video today some retaliation that the Shawnee does and how that affects Daniel Boone. So there's that today. The second topic that they talk about is Jedediah, a guy named Jedediah Smith, and fur trappers, and how that becomes a really big business in our country as we expand. Also, bear attacks, and how these fur trappers who are living in the wilderness, how they have to survive some pretty crazy conditions. Maybe you guys have heard of the movie The Revenant. Leonardo DiCaprio is the star of that movie, but he plays a character named Hugh Glass, who's an actual human being, and he lived around the time of Jedediah Smith, and they have a very similar story. So you're going to see a little bit of a bear attack today, obviously just a fake one, but Jedediah Smith, one of the guys in his group, gets lacerated on his face, so just a big cut on his face, and they kind of have to sew it up. It's a little bit gross, so if you want to just cover your eyes, feel free. And then the last topic today is about just the trails west, and how much money it costs, and the type of people that moved west, and why people were moving west, and the routes that they took. And right at the end, they're just going to mention this group of people called the Donner Party. And you're not going to watch anything about the Donner Party today. We'll watch about it tomorrow. But after the video, you're going to read a short little article about the Donner Party that is called What They Consumed in Their Final Days. So you can imagine what that is about. So I'm going to have you watch the video. While you're watching the video, you're going to have that sheet out, and when there's something that's interesting or pops up, you're going to write down a question. Your job is to have 3 questions on the bottom of this sheet for tomorrow. You don't need to turn this in because we're not done with it yet. You're not done with the video yet. You're going to hang on to it. But you're going to watch the video, and then afterwards there should be, I don't know, maybe 5-6 minutes left. You're going to take a look at this article. Again, it's called What the Donner Party Consumed in Their Last Days. So you're going to take a look at that, and it'll be on Google Classroom for you. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you ahead of time for being respectful and having a good class.